What's going on, people? It's Friday. We made it. It's almost the end of the month, too. It's the 29th of March. Cheers. You see me wearing the same clothes all the time because I'm at home. And so there's no reason to be changing clothes every day just to get on camera. I'm at home most of the time, so I wear the same clothes until it's time to change them. Okay, people, I'm going to talk a little bit about music, but current events are on my mind. And as I've said many times, I'm not running a popularity contest. So if I say something that you don't want to hear and you unsubscribe, just go right ahead. Go right ahead. Excuse me. I'll start by some updates. So tomorrow I'm scheduled to visit with David Hawes, the bass player for I think one of the best bands, Catherine Wheel. I do think they were one of the best bands to come out of England, especially in the 90s. They ruled for me. They were one of the bands that ruled, and I've been revisiting them. It's not their music stands. It stands the test of time. They're special. So I'm looking forward to that. Another update. I heard back from Mike Watt yesterday. He really impresses me as a human. Kind of puts me to shame a little bit. He had knee surgery. Then he goes out and he's on tour with Porno for Pyros with a cane, has to sit down, and he does it anyway. And I didn't even... So that'll be something I plan to talk to him, because he invited me to the Porno for Pyros, put me on the guest list, and I still didn't want to go. And I just want to thank him for his generosity. He's kind of, showing me up a little bit. I don't even want to go on tour, and he's out touring with a bum leg, with bum knee. I need to be quiet, huh? Difference in people. I admire that about Mike. I think about it, and it's like, no, yeah, I think I would like the glory, but it's hard. I know from experience, the road is long and hard, and I don't want to be there. Like my friends, my bandmates in Mode Sound, they're out with Rosalie right now. I watch them daily. It appears they're having a good tour. They're out supporting Mary Timony. I have Mary Timony's first album on CD, but it's somewhere stashed. I'm really happy for them and cheering them on from the sides. But I really don't miss all the driving. All the driving. I had a premonition about this. I don't say anything because it's like I don't want to make things happen, but it's like I saw it in my mind. My friend from Homer's, Mark Manor, who's one of the main buyers down there, and a longtime fan of my music, took some vacation time and went to Minneapolis this week to see Adamant one night and Jesus Jones the next night. Both artists I've never spent a dime on either artist. I observed Adamant deal with his mental illness. He's been open about it, But I know that these shows were special to Mark, but I saw him the day that he was going to leave for the drive. And in my mind, I saw it. Sure enough, on the way home, he had an accident. Now, he's okay. But the car that hit him is totaled out. Don't know if the driver is alive or dead. I saw it in my mind. This happens a lot, people. It really does. And it happens to some of you, doesn't it? You see things and then they happen. Or you have a premonition or you have a thought or a concern. It'll just pop up out of nowhere, won't it? Next thing you know, it becomes real. It's been like that all my life. It's nothing special. We all have it. Some of us pay attention to it. So I'm glad that Mark is all right, but I saw that in my mind, that damned accident. And those are things that partially keep me from traveling more, because I used to like travel, but I get those thoughts. Okay, some music, and then I do want to riff a little bit about current events, a little bit. I'll put it at the end so you can turn me off. You don't have to hear my opinion about that. So in some ways, this is my job. This is my natural job, to share with you my nerdy interest in music and recordings. So the music that got played yesterday, I'll share. Imogen Heap. This is something that's in my collection that was almost forgotten about. Like, I bought it when it came out because I noticed it different, but I never listened to this album to the point where I became familiar with it. And that's what I was talking about in the other video. It's not every record that you buy that you live in. I like it when that happens. This is one where it didn't. This is quite good. Speak for yourself. Quite enjoyed this yesterday. She's a techno type person as far as technology. She's into trying new things and being innovative. Listening to Julia Holter, to be honest, brought this woman to mind to me. There's a similarity in that they're musically adept, and they're not sounding like everyone else. This was quite enjoyable. It was good to hear from Carla yesterday. She left a note here, and then we spoke through Messenger. I will be listening to this again, Carla. You know I'm honest. You know, mean no offense to the band. I'm a stickler about drums, though, now. I am. I'll hear the records, and I'll be thinking, man, I wish I could have played the drums on that. And that's the thought, okay? So, John Walker influenced my play yesterday. I enjoy the comments, people. I do. I don't want to get into conversations in the comments where I'm talking to you all day. Some people would like that. And there are some people who enjoy doing that. I don't want to do that. I'll have contact, and then we keep moving. But John Walker mentioned this Procol Harum album. So did Michael P. Dawson. That's awesome that he got to see them at the time of Grand Hotel. But Mr. Walker brought up the song on here, As Strong as Samson. And I had to admit to myself, I cannot remember those words. So I listened to it, and it's very much on point. It's a song where the person, like a lot of good rock music, people are musing on what it would be like if mankind were to accentuate the positive for a change, to reach for greatness, to take care of one another. It's a good song. I ended up listening to all of the first side. I hadn't listened to this in a long time. Very good band, Procol Harum. I have a lot of their albums, not all of them. Yeah, they're a good band. And I went ahead and pulled this and played this because online, part of what I do is I like to, regarding the music groups online, it's once again that I'm not looking for conversation. I just like to post records and look at them. A little conversation is okay. It's really just fun to have this, something I wanted when I was younger, just to be able to just casually dip in and out of conversations about music. So yesterday there was a lot of posts about this Houses of the Holy being its anniversary release date. This came out my senior year of high school. I probably like this album the most by Led Zeppelin. When I posted it online, I posted the inner cover so I didn't have to censor the front cover. I, for one, am, here's some opinion. I am appalled and very sad that we as humans, mainly because of our monetary focus, our focus on physical, acquiring physical riches, influences the way that we see ourselves, and therefore we cannot handle nudity. I think it's a shame that it's a big deal that people can't handle seeing the nude body. And if you remember, I'm as old as I am. I remember as a child, man, you want to ditch them clothes. There's many times you want to get out of the clothes. And as a parent, you deal with that. Seeing your kids naked ass all the time, you don't want to see it. So what's the big deal? Well, we know what the big deal is. And I think it's, like I said, because of those values. If we were more humane in our values and our focus was not on trying to be greedy and take everything, we wouldn't be so focused on desire. What do I want? See the focus? That's partially why, I'm just going to go on. Tune me out if you don't like it. I think that's partially why sex is so distorted right now. Because just think about it. You're rich and you can do anything you want. And depending on your heart, you'll get to the point where you want to do anything you want. And what are some of the things that we most desire? Sex and power, and things get distorted. So that's what I see as the problem. Ought to be able to see naked kids running around all the damn time with no problem. Frankly, I remember in my neighborhood back in the 60s when that would sometimes happen, and it was no big deal. I would tell the neighbor, hey, so-and-so's out here, tell her to get her underpants on. And it would be that simple. Boy, those were the days. Let me just go on. Yesterday was one of those days where the sunshine in the afternoon made me really nostalgic and had me thinking about childhood and my family and missing my brother. And I really feel grateful for having grown up in the 60s. It wasn't a time of innocence. Racism was horrible. But the overall fabric of the idea of America being a cool place to live and that things were together, that was going on when I was a child. That was still intact. And as I've grown, I've just watched it just completely be destroyed. I wouldn't want to be a kid today for nothing. It popped up, and so I played it. And I love this band. They can barely play on this album. They can barely play their instruments, but they have an idea. And I've watched as many documentaries about the band as I can. And it was really as simple as someone in the band, I don't even think it was one of the main members, somebody turned the reverb all the way up, and they were off to the races. It was that simple. They just turned the reverb all the way up. Well, what happened? Well, this is what happened. Slowdive. Love this band. I'm so happy. Gabe, if you see this, that's so cool that you're going to go see them. I saw them when they first came to America in the 90s. And I met Neil and Rachel when they were barely out of their teens. And it was fun. I had their autographs. And they talk about how Rachel is funny. She was funny back then. Good band. Good music. I love it. Thank goodness for music. So, more. A pull. Yes, Ellie, if you see this, I'm doing pulls at my home. I go through phases of what am I doing? What am I doing? And so I'm pulling, and I'm just, I've got all these gems, and I'm finding some garbage too, like that Fire album I showed you the other day. I'm keeping it, but that album's terrible. Kaitlyn, Aurelia Smith, and Suzanne Ciani. Synergy. It's gorgeous. Modular electronics, no keyboards. These ladies are cooking with gas with these Buchla modular synthesizers. I had to look up this one module that Suzanne Ciani proudly describes on the back. That one of the things that she's using is she's using the 18-panel unit Buchla 200E with a multi-dimensional kinesthetic input port and Eventide H9 processing. I had to look it up. I said, I'll be damned. What the hell is that? So I looked it up, and it's a module. And it's a module that's based on movement, if I get that right. This is beautiful. I've played both sides. It bubbles, it cascades, it flows. It's beautiful. Synergy. Had some fun with Acid Mother's Temple. I've seen them a few times and met Makoto Kawabata. And nothing, he's, I remember you. I love that when it happens. This is them not doing Miles Davis Bitches Brew, but like it says, Son of a Bitches Brew. There's elements of what's going on here that, sure enough, it just keeps calling it to mind. The electric piano and the saxophone, the way that they weave in what Acid Mothers do here, it brings to mind Bitches Brew. It does. And they're not even trying, I don't think. This is really good. Pulled another one of their albums. Here's an example of, so people, another question that someone asked me recently, people talk about their favorite album covers. What about the worst? How about doing the worst album covers? Well, why would I want to think about bad album covers? I don't. If I come across one, then I'll say this is a bad album cover, and here's one. I think this album cover is so tasteless. Acid Mother's Temple. Cometary Orbital Drive to $21.99. What is the deal? That woman does, it's the total sex object and not sex object. She looks tragic. The fuck is going on with this picture here? Now, Acid Mother's Temple put a lot of vixen type of 60s sort of big-breasted pictures of women on their covers, which, that's obviously about someone's amusement in the band. But this is one that I just don't get. It's like, this is ugly. This is really ugly. But the album, man, I couldn't take it off. This is a double album, but I listened to one album all the way through. They start and they just repeat like a mantra, and then it becomes a maelstrom. How do you say the word? Where it's just this storm of energy and sound that then you hear the band coming in and out of it regarding moments of activity. So there'll be moments while it's just this repeating riff going on, then it speeds up, and there's just all this stuff going on. And then the guitarist Makoto, he's amazing. He'll just start wigging out, and it will be like, wow. That's my response. It's like, wow. It's already on an amazing level of energy, and then he does something, and it just explodes. Wonderful. Oh, I got a few more. Let me go. So, I love Seal. And this is remixes of one of his first singles, The Beginning. Seal is someone I would like to meet. I don't know if I necessarily want to talk to him on my channel. He's someone I'd like to meet in person and chat with. We could do it here, but he's someone I like to meet in person. And then I'd spoken of this album recently because I got it recently, the Tom Zay album. This is fantastic. I don't speak a word of Portuguese, and I still get this. This is awesome. So the last thing I want to say is that besides my habits regarding music online, I do watch the news. I do look at the news from all over the world. Obviously, the main outlets in America, but I also look at ABC Australia, African News, Al Jazeera, and more. And I look I don't participate in the comments there because it's insane, and that's what I wanted to say. These comments and people who are out of their minds, people who are racist and divisive, the chatter is psychotic, and it seems deliberate. It almost seems like it's paid for. I'll be thinking, people can't be this stupid. People can't be this fucked up. Some people are, but I suspect that there is a lot of energy going into this divisive disinformation that's going on, that's purposeful, likely being funded and fomented by outside sources or people who think that they're personally going to gain from all this division. But it's sick. Excuse me. And I wish that more people would stand up and be adults. We need adults in the room. We don't have enough people calling out this behavior. It's become so normalized that people don't respond. Like the madness with the Trump Bible. When people started to post on it on Facebook in my feed, the first thing I kept seeing, people say, "Oh, this is a joke, right? Isn't this a joke?" That's what I'm saying. It's not a joke. People need to pay attention and get involved and raise your voices and say, enough of this foolishness because of the naked grab for power, white man's privilege, run amok. This is it. This is it coming home to roost. This comes to mind because they had that, I'm not a Democrat. I follow these things. I'm not a liberal. People say that I'm a liberal because of what I say. What I'm saying is concern for humans. Why do you have to label that something and distort it? I'm trying to stay clear. So anyway, the Dem fundraiser that happened last night, I intend to look online and see some reports on that. But it was interesting to me how those ex-presidents, and Obama brought it to mind. I saw this when Obama was running for president the first time. I said, just watch for the white backlash. And here we are. And it's as bad as I thought it would get. And it's not over. And that's what frustrates me. Someone wants this to happen, and we need more people to stand up. I heard it for the first time yesterday in a discussion on Trump. Why more officials aren't speaking up against him? Because they're afraid for their lives. They don't want to get killed. Isn't that sad? And this motherfucker is up to be president again? It's insane, people. It's insane. And it's being fueled on purpose, I see. I know that there's a lot of stupid people. I also know there's a lot of really rich, entitled, and heartless people too. But there's another force at play here that is purposely mixing things up, and it's very discouraging. We need to be the adults in the room and to call this shit out. We need to get personally involved. It's going to continue to devolve, as Devo said. That's going to happen. We need to at least try.